Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sunday Sessions. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We are making pork and prawn sumai. My favourite song, including the name or words sumai in it, is Beanie Man. Oh na 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 na. Oh na na na. Zim zimmer, who's got the keys to my bimmer? Pork and prawn sumai, the girl them sugar. You get me? Come on. Big up Beanie Man, this one's for you, my brother. Yeah, so we're making dumplings, basically. Pork and prawn. And we're just gonna go from the top and see what happens. So, let's talk ingredients first, all right? 800 grams of deveined, shelled, washed, and then dried prawns, yeah? Here, I have 400 grams of pork shoulder, semi-frozen, so that we can cut it. And then here, 150 grams of pork fat, again, that we're gonna mince. And then we've got seasonings that we're gonna run through elsewhere. But firstly, let's start by let's mince the prawns so that we can use this big bowl after. I went out and bought a cleaver, just because it makes chopping shit easier, innit? So I'm just gonna chop this down. Right, I'm not going into like a complete paste, right? There's some bits that are chunkier than others, there's some bits that are chopped to fuck. We just want a semi-smooth consistency, right? I'd say that was fine. That's our prawn chopped. We're gonna do the same with some pork shoulder. So I'm going to start off by slicing it thin. So this is semi-frozen, so we can cut it quite thin. We're basically making our own mince, but the problem is, if you use mince meat for this, you're not in control of the texture and the bite. When you hand chop it, you can chop it to your desired consistency, right? And again, we're gonna do the same with the pork. We wanna go finer on the pork, right? Because this is gonna work as our binder. And also, you're thinking that we're steaming them as we cook them. A big piece of pork is gonna take a lot longer to cook than a bigger chunk of prawn, right? So, finer mince on the pork. You basically want it to look like mince, if that makes any sense. But the thing is that when you start to chop through with a big cleaver, you end up with it like burger consistency almost. It's coming together, it's emulsifying, the fat's now running through the meat. And that's what gives you that springy texture whilst eating the dim sum, yeah? I'd say that was plenty. In the bowl with the prawns. Stick that to one side. And then I'm just gonna do the same with some frozen fat. Now the fat is gonna work as our binder for everything. So like, instead of using a whole egg or a little bit of flour or whatever, the fat is going to emulsify as we mix through with our hands and make the whole thing into one big like uniform paste. You could probably do it in a blender, but you'd have to look at it and you'd have to have a pretty strong blender to do so. I just find this way, you've got complete control. You know exactly what you're looking for. Cooking's about like feel, touch, understanding. And I feel like if you do it this way, you'll know when you've gone too far, or you know when it's not enough. Just think, do you want to be the person that's eating a piece of fat this big, or the person that's eating delicious emulsified fat because you've gone the extra mile to buy a cleaver, go to your local Chinese wholesaler, source good meat? You want to be that guy? You don't want to be the guy that gets a piece of fucking fat. It's like, oh, I'm never making these again. Do you know what I mean? So, once your fat's all chopped like mine is, in she goes. Yeah? Now, we're going to get our hands in and we're going to give it a good mix. Now, what I'm looking for is the warmth in my hands to bring everything together and help it emulsify. We're gonna add some more fat to this, but in like liquid form, because we want it all to be one consistent filling. We don't want bits and pieces. We don't want it to fall apart. So we're working it until it emulsifies, comes together and is one thing. So basically by the end of it, you should be able to pick a piece out and roll it into a ball. You see all this on the rim of the bowl, you see all of this? This is all the fat melting from the warmth of my hands, right? When you start to get streaks on your bowl, you're moving into the territory of like emulsification and bringing shit together. So the same way if I was gonna make a cuff there, it's the same thing I'd look for. You want it to be consistent and all together, right? In here, I have a teaspoon of white pepper, a teaspoon of MSG, 2 teaspoons of sugar, yeah? That goes in, right? And then, we're gonna mix that through. I've got to put soy in it, but my hands are fucking absolutely covered. Right, so, I've done all the hand mixing. My mix is emulsified. We've had our dried spices in. I'm gonna wash my hands, and then we're gonna move into spooning. Spooning our dim sum. We want to go in with a little touch of soy sauce. This is a light soy, right? Season with light soy. Colour with dark soy. So I'm gonna say about 2 teaspoons. I'd say that was 2 teaspoons worth. And I also just like to put a little crack of real salt in to bring all the flavours up. See what I mean about the streaks? You see this? How it's pulling away from the bowl? Fully emulsified. It now looks like one big mix. It doesn't look like, oh, prawn with a hint of pork. It looks like, what the fuck is that? Big mince ball of stuff, you get me? So now, I'd say that was the hard part done, but we've got to get into stuffing these now, right? So, set that aside. If when you do this, make the mix the day before or a couple hours in advance. The longer that mix sits, the better it's going to get, like anything else. So I'm not going to make the pastry myself, but I live next to a Long Fung, yeah, which is a Chinese wholesale supermarket. Any decent Chinese supermarket, you can get sumai wrappers. If you can't find sumai wrappers, wonton wrappers, yeah. Sumais are harder to stuff, but I've worked with pasta for a long time, so I'm hoping I can just fucking wing this. And see what happens, isn't it? Right, so sumai are the ones that are like thumb size, sit upright, filling on top, poking out a little bit, yellow, sometimes got caviar on top, or like really finely diced carrot. They change throughout the world, Indonesia, China, everyone who does a variation of a dumpling has a variation of a sumai. So, sumai wrappers, circular, wonton wrappers, square. Whichever one I can make look better is the one I'm going to use. So I'm going to start off with circles because I'm a traditionalist and I want it to look as authentic as possible. Spoonful of meat, and you want to pack this, right? And then I'm going to bring in the corners. But as I do this, I want to make sure that there's enough. If there's spillage over the top, it doesn't matter. But anything that doesn't sit right or doesn't sit in the sumai isn't going to cook. So I'm just like poking as I turn just to keep it circular and give it that like distinctive shape. Sumai, it's all right. First one's always going to be shit. It's like sex. The first time you have sex, whether it be a new partner or the first time ever, dog shit. But when you've done it like 15 times and that, depends where you're from and how many people you've slept with, obviously. just gets better, doesn't it? But what we're looking for is a flat bum and loads of filling. And for me, this side in particular, who's done that? A proper craftsman? Fucking hell. Yeah, mate, me, yeah, I'll make sumai, yeah, fucking course I do. I'm quite happy with that, to be fair. I miss making pasta sometimes, you know. Not all the time, but sometimes. I made my first ever sumai probably about 6 years ago, man. I was bored and I set myself challenges that whenever I wasn't at work, I'd cook something that I enjoyed eating. And I have a love of dim sum. And one day I decided to make sumai, and I fucking made sumai for me and little Huss. And just sat and kept rolling and eating, chatting shit. I think my parents were on holiday. And I just want to make myself something nice. And I chose sumai. Cute little wontons. But I have a fucking mad obsession with dumplings, man. Like fucking dumpling legends in Chinatown, duck and dim sum in Cali Road. There's loads that I like to eat in. And also, I feel like it's one of those things that we look at and we're like, oh no, fuck that. Not making those, but with a little bit of experience, you can make whatever, man. Nothing is too far out of reach. But yeah, I'd say sumai are my favourite. I've always got some in my freezer, not homemade. I'll go to Lung Fung, where I got all the ingredients for this, and I'll stock up on freezer bits. So I'll always have sumai knocking about. I've got a steam basket. Instant noodles is another one that I stock up on. Chinese pickles. My cupboard's always got Chinese pickles in. Just if I want to put something over rice and I haven't got anything. Chinese pickles and a fried egg, delicious. But I think that the main obsession came from when before I became a chef. The first challenges I set myself was like, right, let's recreate takeaways. And the first thing I ever cooked was tempura prawn, hoisin broccoli on white rice, and it took me 4 hours, bruv. No joke. Ask Blowjob Rob, he'll tell you about it. And I kind of fell into this, like, I want to make food that I normally order from takeaway at home and just see if it is as easy as everyone makes it look out. And I found out that there were a lot of things. There was a big time in my life where I was making chow mein all the time, or making fried rice. You've seen the fried rice video. That's all come from being a greedy little gannet and wanting to know, one, how to make them, and two, just being able to have it in the pantry and be like, oh, one day I'm hungry, bang, I'll just bang out a quick chow mein. And I feel like if you want to be a good chef, if you want to be a good cook, you have to build some sort of obsession with it. Like George was just saying to me off camera that I've got a love-hate relationship with food, and I do. Sometimes I fucking love it, and sometimes I'm like, nah, never making that again. But I find that if I'm interested, and something's caught my eye and I'm like, oh, that was fucking nice, I want to know how to make that, then I can sit all day and fucking roll out as many sumai as it takes. Anyway, sumais are rolled, and we had like a little beautiful moment. It's getting dark, making sumai. Sumais are all rolled. So obviously, with the using store-bought wonton wrapper, we're cheating in it. But maybe one day we'll do the thing from start to finish when we've got like a mixer and the will to live. That'll play when we've got more time. But for now, look at my beautiful dim sum. They were made by me. Let's hope they don't fucking fall apart. Now, in order to make dim sum, you need a steam basket, right? So I bought these, you get them on Amazon. The only thing you have to remember is that you buy steam baskets and you need to get these little like doily things that go on the inside to stop your dim sum from sticking to the bamboo. So one sheet's enough, don't double up, I've learned the hard way. One sheet, 2 sheets. What I like to do is I like to put a little bit of oil on the sheets, just so that I know that I've got extra safety blanket and nothing's gonna fuck up, nothing's gonna stick, right? So I spent all this time rolling them. I don't want anything to stick. Fucking, how many have I got? This is like a magic trick. Oh, from 3 to 2 to 1. 2 is what you need, right? You need 1 per basket. Lay them in your basket, like so. And then you wanna plonk in your sumai. I've laid the dumplings out, 5 in each one. 1 stack on top of the other, lid on. Now, it's important, yeah? This water has to be at a constant boil. It has to be producing steam at all times. The steam is what's gonna travel up and cook our little dumplings, make them tight and delicious. This has just come up to a rapid boil. Dumplings on. I'm gonna set a timer. I'm gonna go in at like 7 minutes and then check from there. All we want is that the mix is hot all the way through. That's all we're looking for. Stopwatch, timer, 8 minutes. Put your phone on silent. Pack down. Come. Time is done. I'm just gonna, oh fuck, I turned it up. I'm just gonna turn this off. Not gonna lift the lid. Still gonna continue to steam. See it steaming? Steaming beautifully. Just gonna make a really, really quick dipping sauce. Just you can't have dim sum without dipping sauce. So I found my ginger. I'm just gonna peel. I want nice battens of ginger. This is just to like flavor some vinegar. We're not eating the ginger. I just like the little hum that you get from ginger. It's quite fierce and quite fiery, but also aromatic and delicate at the same time. So, as thin as I can get it, like that, and then stack them up like a deck of cards, just into really thin battens. That can go into a little bowl. I'm going to add in some chopped coriander. I just like to be able to dip the dumpling in and get a little piece of coriander on the top. Some Chinese black dumpling vinegar. Just going to pour that on. I like to cut it with a tiny bit of sesame oil. Some people put sesame oils in their dumplings. I like it in my dipping sauce. A little sesame oil just to coat the top. Give it a little mix. You've got nice ginger, vinegar. I'm not adding soy sauce yet because I don't know how salty or how seasoned my dumplings are. If my dumplings are under seasoned, then I'll add a little bit of soy, but we're hoping that we got them just right. Now, whilst that's been happening, our dumplings have been allowed to rest, yeah? And we are gonna pull them off without burning our hands. Because the, ow, for fuck's sake. Dumplings. So, I've not checked, I've not looked, I've not opened. I've been patient, left the lid on, let all the residuals steam in. Let's have our first gander at what could be an absolute shit show. Oh wow. Yeah, firm. I'm gonna stick a chopstick in. Yeah. Chopstick against the lip. It's warm on the inside. Oh fuck, they taste good. Right, let's do a little cross section. Let's just see if we're tightly packed in. Look at that, look how juicy they are, man. You've got like minced pork, little bits of fat, prawn. Delicious, absolutely, yeah. Delicious. I don't bother with cutlery when it comes to dim sum. I just like to eat straight out of the basket. Dip it into your sauce. Pick up a little bit of coriander and some ginger. And then put it in your mouth. Sometimes I impress myself. Chew like fucking tight clothing that the dumpling is around the meat. Bounce, white pepper, a little bit of like sweetness in the back from sugar, acid and fragrance from the dipping sauce. I know it's ball ache, it takes a long time. You've got a hand chop, you've got to buy a cleaver, you've got all of that shit. But the end result, bro, is so worth it, man. Oh, fuck. I didn't drop it. Are you fucking insane? You cannot see me. Where am I, dumpling legend? Delicious, absolutely delicious. I fucking love dumplings. If you took me to an all-you-could-eat dumpling bar, they'd fucking kick me out. But you can't sit here for 4 hours. Yeah, I fucking can. Bring in the crystal prawn ones, bring them. It's like a meatball inside of a fucking pillowy, wet case. I like the vibe at a dumpling restaurant. I like that they all come in baskets and you lift them open, it's a surprise. Also working late hours as a chef, I'd come home, take some store-bought dumplings, steam them, and sit at 2 AM just eating them with chopsticks on my own. And it just shows how far I've come personally, not showing off, but like the last time I made them, they were fucking not as good as this, and this is pretty close, man. For some people it's nuggets or wings. For me, I could eat dumplings every day for the rest of my life. Oh, could you eat dumplings every day for the rest of your life? Just dumplings. Cheng feng. Oh. Make this. It's fucking delicious. You won't regret it, man. I promise you. I promise. Now, George needs to put the camera down before I eat 10 entire dumplings on my own. Eat them, go on. Break my heart.
Chop House Films.
Can you say films?
Film.
Films.
Films.